the deeper you get into business, the more you realize like how focused you have to be, right? So it's like all that outside noise
You gotta
don't
shut
matter,
it off.
man, because if you're going to be hiring employees, you got to have right employee handbooks. You got to have SOPs for every little thing that's within your company. You got to manage your financials,
Yeah,
understand
and
your
then how
profit and
you
loss.
invest in your money. Like, why am I spending all this money on this vehicle to impress people when the cost of this vehicle can give me a better return?
Yeah,
Putting it back into reinvest it back into the business,
yeah,
and then if you know what I mean, like if I choose it, because after a while that the newness goes away anyway,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
so it don't
And
even
then
matter.
and then the cost of getting it fixed is a lot more. You
Exactly.
know what
So
I'm saying?
it's not. It's definitely a liability. It's
Right.
not an investment unless you're in the business where that lifestyle
Yeah.
is what brings you business.
Which is expected. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You're doing client meetings. You can't
Right.
be pulling up looking crazy. But you talked about again, you started your business, you grew it, right? But then now you're in a place of where you're hiring people, right? And you talked about, building up this workforce development piece where you're incentivizing yourself, or you can break it down more, to help single mothers. Talk about that, like what that looks like, why that's important to you.
It's important to me because I'm a single mother.
Yeah.
I was married at one point. I got divorced,
Yeah.
but I've been a single mother longer than I was ever married.
Yeah.
And I know what it is to struggle. I know what
Yeah.
it is to be on public assistance. I
Yeah.
know what it is to be homeless, be
Yeah.
almost homeless.
Yeah.
I know what it is to like work and still not be able to make ends meet.
Yo, that shit gotta suck to be a single mom and almost homeless. That has to be the most scariest feeling.
I was homeless when I got to DC. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. I just knew you moved from Connecticut. And
From Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Nah, I'm joking. But
Almost.
yeah, I did not know that. So when I met you, you was almost homeless at that time?
Yeah.
Damn, man. That's crazy. That's wild, yo. That had to be so scary as a single mom. Wow, okay.
Yeah. I mean, my car wasn't working. I couldn't, and my son, Ibn was his asthma was horrible, and the AC in the car wouldn't work. Remember those summers were
Yeah.
crazy hot.
Yeah.
And so I was in the emergency room with him all the time.
Dang, you was just grinding out insurance, trying to make it work. Shit.
Yeah, and I couldn't keep a job.
Yeah. Oh,
I
because
couldn't
of what?
keep
Because
it
of being
because of his health.
Ah.
So that's how I got into insurance, because I needed something that allowed me the flexibility, and I was tired of asking for permission to take time off to take care of my kids. And that's the other challenge of being a single parent.
Yeah.
Like having a job where you have to worry and be concerned, thank you, about
Thank you, brother.
asking permission and whether or not you're going to be able to maintain your
Yeah.
job because your child is sick, or you just want to be present in your
Yeah.
child's life,
Yeah.
is something that I was not okay with.
Yeah.
And it was really, really challenging. I've always been an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I had businesses before then, so it was a lot easier. And
Yeah.
I like, the challenge.
So let me think about this, man. I mean, because this is something that I think a lot of women face, is that you had to choose your child over your career, but at the same time, you still got to feed your child. And just the thinking, how do you make the best decision in that space, which is crazy.
I will tell you, there were plenty of times where I had entertained the thought of entertaining jobs and opportunities that I otherwise would not if I wasn't in that predicament, if that makes sense.
I'm reading between the lines. I think.
Yeah. No, literally.
But okay. But I mean,
You know
I
what
get
I mean?
it.
But
Yeah.
and it depends on what are you willing to do. I don't care what it is. I've said it before, and I'll say it over and over again with no shame. There is absolutely nothing in this world that I'm not willing to do for my children at any cost.
Right. And so fast forward, you didn't have to do any of that stuff. You worked it out. Now here you are, right? And now you're taking what was a problem for you, and now you're creating a solution for a lot of single mothers. right, is the vision.
That's
right?
the goal, yeah.
And so going back to entrepreneurship, you solved one problem, which was in supply chain, right? You solve that, make money from that, but then now you're also hiring people, which is another problem that you're solving within the culture. You know what I
Right.
mean? Which is number two. And then number three, you now, because you're making profits, you're buying other companies. So you bought the virtual assistant company, or a portion of it, like you mentioned. And so now you have ownership. And so then as you continue to grow this, you can invest in stuff other places. And now you're an investor, which now you not only hire employing women, you're also investing in them too, so they can be like you, and then rinse, wash, repeat over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And it's not just
Thank you,
to
man.
build my company, but hopefully the goal is to
Cheers too, by the way.
absolutely.
Can we cheers? Is that?
I'll let y'all cheers.
Okay.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, no doubt, bro.
So the idea that I have is to be able to position single moms and provide them, I think most importantly to me, is adequate income,
Yeah,
not just to make ends meet, but to
Yeah.
be able to do more.
yeah,
And then also to provide them an opportunity where they have a skill set that can command a more than just a fair living wage.
yeah.
And then if they decide that they want,
Which gives them like self-reliance.
you
Yeah.
have dignity, and then also, but in a space and environment where they're understood as a parent,
Yeah.
and family always comes first. Like I tell
Yeah.
my staff, they're like, you know, and I have staff globally, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, my son was sick. Go take care of your son. Why? Send me a message. Don't apologize. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I trust that you'll get back to what you need to do.
Yeah.
Just let me know what else. Where do we need to pick up
Yeah,
so that you can freely care for your child,
Yeah.
make sure they're well, and then come back
Yeah.
with a calm, peaceful mind and heart
Yeah.
where you're not feeling rushed. Like your job is not in jeopardy because your child, you have to take care of your child.
nah, that's some real shit, yo. Like even with my employees, we don't even have an official vacation
Yeah.
thing. You know, we have suggested, but you know what I look like telling somebody you ran out of time on your paid leave,
Right.
so you can't go get yourself,
It's
or
performance.
you gotta get like
Results.
It's results. We had an employee that she has lupus and she had a difficulty with pregnancy, so she had to take off 3.5 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she asked me, she was like, hey,
Thank you.
I got to take off. I can't, you know. And she asked, she was like, am I going to get paid? Because I've been saving, so in case I don't. I'm like, of course you're going to get paid. Like, what I look like telling you as you're dealing with this lupus.
Yeah, here's some
and
more
pregnancy,
stress so
sorry,
you can stay
can't
out
pay.
longer.
Yeah, now I hope
and-
she come
and struggle
back.
even
I hope she
more.
come back healthy, but like, it's just, you know, but again,
It's
it goes,
compounding though. If you
Yeah.
have to worry about your finances while you're concerned about your health or your child's health,
Yeah.
or dealing with an immediate urgent matter that is going to take you away from work, first of all, the quality of your work is not going to be there.
Yeah,
And then secondly, you're not going to recover as quickly because you're compounding that stress of worrying about your position or your finances
yeah.
to get back.
Yeah, and that's why I just encourage people to explore entrepreneurship, right? Because when you do that, you not only solve an immediate problem in your community, you solve a bunch of other ones, right? Like this, I'm off of work stress, so yo, it's dope what you doing, Jen. I'm like super proud of you. I didn't know you were homeless when I met you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you hear people talk about that, like I was homeless, but I mean, I believe it. Like you moved to a new city, had two kids at the time, and like that shit is crazy. And now we sit in the Capitol Grill in Atlanta.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Chilling.
you know what's so funny? Remember sitting at National Park and talking about all of this?
Yeah.
I still remember that day.
Yeah, I do too. That was a good day. But I didn't know you was homeless though. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, luckily I was staying at but I left in the dead of night because
Yeah.
my house kept getting broken into. I was coming out of a domestic violence situation, and my safety and my children's safety was at the point where My brother and a friend literally drove up from DC, packed up my stuff, and drove me out.
Damn. Was it? Why didn't you leave? Was you scared?
I had already left. A restraining order didn't work.
What do you
Nothing
mean?
worked.
What do you mean? So like, because I still don't understand why anybody stays in a domestic situation, right?
It's a mental thing. So I just found out one of my best friends, she lost her sister to domestic violence just a few weeks ago. And she used to babysit my kids.
The woman that died.
Yes.
But so when you say they came and got you, right? They came and got you from what? Like you just
From
like
my house constantly being broken into. They took my gun.
broken into by
my ex. Not him physically. I don't know if it was him. What I know is there were multiple times that I would walk into my house and it was broken into. And that last time I was literally walking in while they were in the house.
the ex.
Whoever he had going there. I mean, I had death threats, I had phone call threats, I had threats from him.
So they pulled you out of the constant pressure of
Yeah.
the situation. Wow, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. And your kids in tow, like both of them. God damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, that next night I was out.
Damn.
Left everything.
Job, house, all of that shit.
Everything.
And you had to recover financially from all of that because you just
Yeah, I
you
left
know
everything.
nobody.
And I mean, the same thing happened again. But that's the whole thing about the value, where you put your value in. Because when I had to end my marriage, I did the same thing. I left everything.
Middle of the night, just out of
Not
nowhere.
middle of the night, but I walked away with my kids and our clothes.
But you didn't. It was no like.
It was not worth my sanity, our safety, their mental health and
Yeah.
wellness
Yeah.
was not worth, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's a house and, oh, I gotta, no.
Yeah.
What I'm not afraid of is starting over.
Yeah.
Because if you can't bank on yourself, then what do you?
Right. And so I guess that's the message you would tell people. It's like, yo, bank on yourself no matter what your circumstances is.
Yeah.
Because if you could do it from where you came from, anybody can.
And I think that's when you say why people stay in a situation, like the first experience being in that domestic abuse relationship, I was living in the penthouse of the newest high rise in Rhode Island. I had the 750 BMW that I had custom painted in Lamborghini red.
Damn.
And driving around.
I'm gonna see if that joint's
all
still
of
up
that.
for sale. You can probably get it at a good price right now.
Right. I mean, like on the outside,
Yeah.
I look like I had everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like you had everything when you was in DC too. Yo, that's funny, man. So, wow. Okay. All right. So that's what's up. So it's just basically is no excuse, right? And so one thing I can say about you, even when you didn't have nothing, right? You always surrounded yourself by winners, and you looked like a winner. You talked like a winner, and you obviously believed you were a winner, right? Even if you was quote unquote losing at the time, right? And I think like, would you say that's why you were able to close the gap so quickly between quote unquote losing and winning because you always put yourself in environments that you were up?
So I think I would say yes. I didn't really think about it that way, but when you say close the gap so quickly,
Yeah.
when you're in it, it doesn't seem so quickly.
Yeah, facts.
Right? So the difference is like sticking to it.
Yeah,
And you have to literally talk yourself through that whole situation.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
So you like reading books. You like
everything. Read, like I have over 100 books. I have 3 Audible accounts.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite? Why you got
One.
3 though? Why you need 3?
Because I just kept, they give me a new account for free, I'm gonna get some free books.
That's a hack. So hold on. Okay,
Yeah.
so you just get free books by having
Well,
3?
you know, every email, I got the company email account, I got my personal email account, I got the other company email account. I get my books.
Yeah. So what's your 3 favorite books?
Napoleon Hill is one of my
Make
favorite.
You Go Rich. I said that.
Yeah,
That's one of mine too.
yeah, that's always.
Yeah.
Psycho-cybernetics,
Yeah. Changing that self-image.
all of that, and it's all true. It's all true.
Yeah, 100%. That goes back to that winning, right?
Yep.
Like you might have been down bad, you know what I'm saying? But you was in your mind, you was like, nah,
Yeah,
I'm a
and
I own businesses in different states. I mean, different
I've already,
countries.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
You've got
I'm a
to.
multi.
And if you were able to do it once, you can do it again. And you're going to do it better because you already have learned the mistakes. You've
Yeah.
already made the mistakes. So you know
Yeah.
what pitfalls to avoid.
Yeah,
You've got to, the only way you're going to fail is if you don't actually learn.
yeah, yup. And that's the key, man. And that's why people ask me all the time. They like, Will, what you up to these days? I'm like, I'm focused on family and business. That's it, right? And because I'm just constantly learning, right? And it's just like you sit down. Like I got a notebook, well, OneNote, Microsoft OneNote.
Yeah.
And some days I'll just sit down with just business material. So I invest a lot in business material. There's this one EOS, which is
Oh, I love EOS.
Yeah, so it's that EOS, right?
Traction, all
Yeah,
that.
so I got these PDFs about different. There's hundreds of these PDFs, and I just go through them, and like it's like 3 pages, but the questions they ask you are so deep that you can spend time with, and like then you go back and reference that stuff, and you're like, shit, this gave me so much progress in my. This created so much progress in my business, but it's like it's boring work, right? But like if you were always distracted by the next big opportunity, you can never sit down, throw on some classical music or whatever, and sit down and just go deep into your business.
You have to make time for that, and you have to be intentional about it. And if you are not willing to, you have to also, it's boring work if you're not excited about what can come of it and what you're investing into it.
Which I think also goes back to that self-image piece, because if you got a low self-image, you need outside things to give you that confidence boost. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna go to this event so I can be seen.
Confirmation from everybody else. And here you are spending your money.
Yeah, you spending your money to buy. What you're really doing is you're buying
validation.
Acceptance, you're buying validation, which in an emotional level is really you just buying confidence in yourself. But if you already have confidence in yourself, you don't need all that other stuff. So you're okay with boredom. So like, I remember I was reading some book and it was just talking about like, get comfortable with boredom, right? Or die on the sword of boredom in the sense that money's in just reading a book, right? Or writing notes, you know what I'm saying? Having conversations that are not about entertainment, but are about elevation, right? And once you get to that place, you don't need all that outside entertainment. You can just the level of growth you can have. I'll look at somebody like John Maxwell, right? John Maxwell wrote like 50-something books or plus. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't hanging out. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's not pressed to be at every event. He's at every event now.
But you see how everybody wants him to be at their
he's
event.
at every event now, but he's being paid to be there.
Yeah.
But he's not pressed to be at these events. He couldn't be if he's writing 80 books or whatever the amount of books he's written. And these aren't just like basic books. These are books with a lot of depth to them, right? And so you need to be able to sit down.
You gotta learn to enjoy your time with yourself.
Yep. That's real.
You have to get to a place where you look forward. Like I look forward to being by myself.
Yeah.
And hanging out with myself because that's the opportunity where I have time to think and reflect.
Yeah, I feel that.
Like my books, I do a lot of audio because I'm always running around somewhere. So that's what
in the car.
I couldn't tell you what music is out or who's. It's irrelevant to my business. It's irrelevant to what makes me money. It's irrelevant to what is going to help me grow. So I listen to it every once in a while, but I'm listening to an audiobook. And my kids in the car are listening to the audiobook. They're getting pre-programmed.
I gotta do better at that.
They don't even know it.
my most successful friend, that's what he said. He said, if I'm in the car, all I'm doing is just the audiobooks. I do it sometimes. I gotta do better.
And if you do it the first as soon as you get in the car, or like I'll do it a lot, especially if I'm driving around. Sundays I spend my days planning for the week.
Yeah.
And I plan out every day on my laptop, on my computer, digitally and manually. So I got to write down everything that I got to do for the week, what my goals are, what my schedule is for every single day of the week, all of that, and the kids' schedule. So I got to manage my schedule, the kids' schedule, and the business schedule. But
no excuses, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, you just got to keep going, right?
Her son at Morehouse, man, which is crazy when you think about the whole story that she just told.
you don't always want to schedule out your life, right?
No.
What happens when you buck up against that? Like, how do you bring yourself back to center?
So what you're gonna do if you keep up with it and you decide that 1 week or one weekend or one day you're not gonna go according to the schedule that you put yourself, you'll quickly see the ramifications of it, and you'll be like, I don't like this.
Right.
I don't like the way this feels because I don't feel as prepared, or I forgot something. You know what I mean? Like,
So you get immediate like foresight on, if I don't do this, this is the
yeah,
trend.
and then you start to see the difference between a week that you've planned out, or when you've planned out and being intentional about what you're gonna do, and when you don't. Like I have my Google Calendar, and everything is color coded, mind you, for the kids, the business, my personal calendar, the other business, and then I have a planner. I put everything on a planner, and then I have a notebook where each day, the night before, I list out the tasks that I need to accomplish for that day per category. When I say category, I mean the business, the kids, personal, things that I need to address.
How detailed do you get? Is it more like a generalized, like?
Sometimes my list could go as long as 10 items, and then I'll cross it off as I'm getting it done. And then what I don't finish that day, I'll move it to the next day. The list never ends, but what happens is you get things done. And then if you set yourself up mentally for the week, so like what I was telling you is like Sundays, I'll listen to my audiobook while I'm working and planning. What that does is it kind of builds up the your anticipation and preparation for the week. So Monday morning, when I get out in the car, I'm already excited about what I got to get done. And I start my day at 5 o'clock in the morning. By noon, I already finished most of my. So if something comes up in the middle of the day, I have time to get things done. I have time to respond to it, as opposed to, letting things lag and, I forgot I had to do this. Psycho-cybernetics talks about so everything is drawn off of your belief, and we are essentially hypnotized. Okay, so what you grew up in, the people around you told you this is who you are, this is what you are, and you start to believe that, and you start to live into it. So even subconsciously, you start to make decisions that match the vision of what it is that you believe. And you can change that if you decide, well, this is, if I could be whoever it is that I want to be, what would that look like? And you got to start to visualize that to the point where you can actually imagine smelling the atmosphere that you're in, that you want to see yourself in, what it feels like, what are you going to look like, what are you going to wear, what the kind of experiences you're going to have, the people around you, how are people going to respond to you? You know what I mean? How are you going to feel about it?
I think we all have pessimism inside of us. So no matter what, we're going to have pessimism.
I know why.
Was it an overwhelming pessimism? Or was it just like, all right, I mean, I think it's some red flags, but I mean,
For me, it was
I'm
like
willing
this.
to ignore that. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference.
And I literally said to myself,
Thank you, like, brother. A little bit, please.
I literally said to
That's
myself,
enough.
this
Thank
is
you.
not it.
Yeah.
This is not the person I need to be with. But I was just like, you know what? I'm being too critical.
Right. You give it a chance. And no, I mean, it was the
10
same
years
thing
later.
with Ibn and Isha's father. It was the same thing with my ex-husband. The last relationship I let them convince me into something that I knew I wasn't ready for or really wanted.
But what's the thing? But all right. But have you done the work around what's the void in yourself that you were willing? That you were
I
willing
had to assess it. I'll
compromise
tell you
in?
exactly why I got married, why I convinced myself into getting married, is because I wanted my children to grow up in a nucleus family. I
Makes
wanted
sense.
my kids to have a male figure in their lives. I wanted a spouse.
solid male
I wanted solid, yeah. So I only looked at what responded and answered the question or the desire that I needed, and overlooked, no matter how blatant it was in my face, what was the red flags. And I went through with it because I was like, well, like I said, again, it doesn't mean I necessarily make all the best decisions, but I was willing to do whatever is necessary to make sure that my kids were good.
But let me ask you this though, because like, what do you think about, and you too, Freddie, like, you still sought the companionship, because that's one thing, right? But you still like the person, whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
But like, what do you think maybe you could have done better as a partner that could have made, because it's not about just that person.
No, you have to take
Like-
accountability. And yes, so the things that I know that I could have done in my relationship, my marriage, was one, having real serious conversation in regards to values, true values, what the definition of family is, child rearing, what that look like, unresolved traumatic issues.
That piece, that hit home for you?
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like I didn't take care of as a child, and then it started rearing up
You.
in my adult. Like,
You and that other person. Yeah.
my mom left when I was 12.
You.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, that
You were dealing with
created-
abandonment
That
issues.
created abandonment issues. It created commitment issues with me. Like, if my mom and my dad ain't safe, nothing's safe.
And that is the biggest thing within our community, and I think it's huge within our black men, because that was the same circumstance for my ex. The people who were supposed to provide the biggest level of protection and love were not able to do that for whatever reason, because you have to understand also, whatever their circumstance was that you may not be aware of is what caused them to make that decision. And you were it impacted you because you were a factor in it. But also because of that, if you can't feel safe in who procreated you, nothing ever is going to be safe until you address it and understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that was tough for me to, like, dang, like,
it's deep.
Like,
It's deep.
Yeah, at that point, it's like I really can't blame her because my issues may be causing this in her, and she's responding out of her hurt.
Yeah,
Where
you're
it's
triggering
it's
each
a
other.
cyclical, like type
It
of
is.
thing, like, so
That shit tough, man. It's like relationships force healing, man.
Wait, they either force you or force you to see what your issues are.
Yeah, but I mean, once you see it, you either stay in a relationship or you don't.
You either deal with it or you don't.
It's fucking complex.
And it is. You have to, but you have to be willing to go through and do the work that's necessary. And it's not easy at all, in the least, because you've got to be willing and accept a part of you that you are not proud of, that is not very favorable, and that needs work and is very immature and has to be cared for. And that's a big, like, that's a big swallow.
and when both parties are trying to take care of that,
Man, it's stressful, bro.
it's tough. And then on top of that, you can get in an argument, and then I'll use your hurt against you, or you use my hurt against. Like, now it becomes a weapon. Now I can't trust you with any of my. Now I'm completely closed.
Exactly, yeah. And then with that, it perpetuates every future relationship you have after that.
Right.
Because you're like, well, I'm definitely not.
Bringing baggage to other relationships.
Bro.
I like being reminded of us. They may say something, do something.
That reminded you,
way, and it's like red flag, and it's just like I'm bringing
Closure. Like,
yeah.
like that's, I mean, I'm engaged now, and that shit,
Congratulations.
bruh. That shit tough, because we in marriage counseling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the best thing you could do.
Bruh, but it's
tough.
Because it's like we don't, like,
It's not pretty, it's not sexy, it's not romantic.
like we have a lot of passion in our relationship. Like we have a lot of fucking fun. But then now we started doing this shit, and it's just like, I hate it. I'm just like, I hate it's hard, man. Because you see the person's triggers, You got your own triggers, and it's like, do you force this, and not force it, but do you do this, or do you just be like, you know what, fuck it, I just don't want my triggers touched. I'm just gonna live how I fucking want to.
Yeah,
live.
and you just ignore it until you can't.
Yeah. It's just like I'm just gonna live by myself. I'm gonna be single as fuck. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna go and come as I please.
But it goes back to what we were talking about. You know what that life's gonna be like. You know what that's gonna look like.
That's a fact.
You know what
Actually, I didn't even think about that.
You
But
want just
If that's what you want, but you gotta take time for yourself though.
Yeah.
no, I do. I'm just saying, it's just, but like I'm so used to that though. Like I'm very used to, especially like I ain't even gonna lie, like I'm used to being by myself in a way. Like I mean, you know, but like I'm not used to being by myself with money though. And it's just like, and I get it. I mean, you know,
Not fun.
it's not fun because
exciting.
it's like now it's like, all right, I'm flying out tonight. The nanny's waiting for me when I get home. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, hey, pull up, like I'm out here. Like before when it was week on, week off, I could be like, yo, meet me in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna spend a couple days here. Or I could be like, you know what? I'm having a good time. Like I'm gonna stay the night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like that. Which is, I mean, the plus side of that is I'm way more focused. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's not as exciting. And I kind of miss that shit. But that's, I mean, to me that seems immature, but it's like.
Yeah, but it goes back to what we were talking about in reference to being bored, being okay with being bored and doing what's necessary. Because like you said, like you're way more focused in your business.
Yeah.
So you see the results and the return on that, even though it's not as exciting.
Yeah, that's real.
Yes, please.
Where you from, bro?
Wisconsin.
Okay.
I'm from Milwaukee.
Word?
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
would never guess that, man.
Yeah, so I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm telling, listen, I get invitations to fly out everywhere
I
all the
know.
time.
I know. Thank you. I could imagine.
And I have to like, I'm like,
just
damn.
can't.
This morning, I'm dropping off my daughter and then one of my girlfriends called me, hey, I got to go to New York. I might go because it'd be a good networking opportunity because there'll be a bunch of mayors there. But she's like, can you fly out and come with me to New York for these events?
Yeah.
Or if I want to, even on a leisure aspect, like it takes I got to fly my mom down or one of my aunts or try to convince one of my sisters.
Where they at?
So my parents are still in Rhode Island. My aunt's in Rhode Island. I got one sister in Philly, 2 in Philly now, 1 in Dallas. So
I like Dallas, man.
I haven't spent enough time there to. I mean, I made some good connections.
By the way?
So when I was married, my ex, he got.
You said that you let that married linger too. When I was married.
Yeah, when I was married, once upon a time.
Yeah.
But I'll say I love being a wife and a mother.
Yeah, you seem like you'd be a good one.
I love the idea of having a family and watching the kids grow, and like I loved cooking and having like the food ready when the kids came home from practice for everybody.
Yeah.
I used to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner faithfully every single day for the kids and like for the family. And actually, I enjoyed it. I literally like it gave me a lot of.
So why you
fulfillment.
like he just was acting crazy? He's military, right? Mm-hmm. They all come with like a.
Yeah, no, he has, and it's not to say that I don't have my issues, but I'm saying what I could not deal with was his unwillingness to address those issues.
Right.
Like, I don't think anyone or anything is going to be perfect, and I'm willing to go through the fire.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to also deal with the demons and the issues that we've got to deal with.
Did y'all do counseling on it?
We did several times, but every time it got time to talk about his childhood or address those issues, it would stop. Yep. But those are the things that, I mean, it perpetuated the alcoholism, it perpetuated unresolved childhood issues,
Right.
abandonment issues. Like, he used to be like, if things were good and it was like the kids weren't fighting, we weren't fighting.
What you mean?
So remember, there was 6 kids between us.
Shit, you only got 2.
I got 3.
I mean, you got 3, but
Yeah.
he had
He had 2. I had 2. And then I convinced him to take his stepdaughter from his previous marriage to come stay with us.
Damn.
And then we had our child together.
So the kids, because we got a blended family too. We about to move in together. So like, the blended family kids was fighting?
Yeah, I mean, but kids fight anyway.
But not like real fight, but like.
No, but it's how you deal with it. Like, my issue with him was he was comparing the kids to each other.
Oh, okay.
To the point where it was just like toxic. Like, he would tell his kids how my kids would respect him more than them.
So he was like, what's your Eben?
Ibn and Isha.
Isha, yeah. Even Isha, they respect me more than y'all do. Like
yeah.
That.
But it's the upbringing. His kids came up in a very chaotic environment. You know what I mean? And you know how I am with my kids. Like, you got to be respectful and everything.
How did y'all manage that? Like, that's a whole blended family. That shit is scary.
It is. But and mind you, we were in the military on top of that. So he was gone half the time.
You sitting there with
So when I'm with
kids,
the kids,
6
yeah,
kids.
I was pregnant with 5 kids in the house. Full time. There was no, you going to your mom's. Like, it was 100% me wobbling around the house, cooking and cleaning, with 5 kids running around the house.
Damn. So you couldn't work during that time for real.
After I had Ibn, I needed to work. I had so I started my agency in San Diego, and I had 12
Y'all
agents
was in San
working.
Diego?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
So I actually started an agency there, and I had 12 agents working for me.
Damn.
Part time.
Damn. That's crazy.
But I truly believe, like, if he had been willing to deal with those issues, like, if we were able, like, I'd probably still be married.
He's still in Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
He gets your son half the time or no?
Mm-mm. Not at all. He won't see my son.
Why?
Because of he's required by court to see my son with adult supervision.
Damn.
And he refuses to do that.
He just like, fuck my relationship with my son. Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
We only 15 minutes away.
He,
That's why I'm still in Atlanta. I would have left. I would have gone. I was ready to go back to
but
DC.
you can still leave now.
I still could now.
Yeah.
But if I leave here, I'm going somewhere out of the country. I'm not.
Yeah, you're not fucking around. Man, that's wild, man. You definitely always had that, like, even I think back with Jarrell, like, you always had that, like, wife material type of vibe to you with the spaces you create.
Mm.
That's crazy, man.
It was like a childhood dream.
Yeah,
Like, I literally wanted to be a wife.
yeah. You think you ever do it again?
I'm not going to say that I would never do it again,
Yeah.
but after having gone through that experience, I have a different perspective. And, like, I don't have that fairy tale perspective of what a marriage is.
Yeah.
So would I do it again? I would have to feel very secure and safe
Yeah.
to be willing to, because I know me,
Yeah.
the person that I am, like, I'm willing to go through the fire with somebody,
Yeah.
which means that I'm willing to sacrifice myself.
That's scary. So you got to have a man that's like knows that about you.
Yeah.
And protects you from that.
Exactly. And you know what I mean? Because that puts me in a very vulnerable position where someone can really take advantage of me.
Yeah.
And I'm always left with the short end of the stick.
So you need a better picker then.
My picker is broke. I think it's missing. Somebody stole it and gave me the defected one.
That's on your girlfriends though. That's not on you. That's not your fault.
I don't even have, like, I can't say I have a lot of, like, I have a few girlfriends, but most of the people that I associate with, they're about their business and they're about positivity and everything.
But are they in the relationships types that you want?
Some of them are married in good relationships. Some of them are not. But I think, like, first of all, I don't know if Atlanta is the place where I'm gonna find a secure relationship.
Really?
No, because the lifestyle here, everything is very like superficial, like to me.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? So to be, is it okay if I have another one, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. To be,
Hate it.
to get in a relationship is going to require a lot of trust building.
Yeah.
And then also it would require a very secure man.
Yeah.
Like my marriage, when we would go out, he couldn't handle anybody looking at me.
What you mean? What's wrong with that?
He was like, "Oh, you making it them feel like they should look at you, or
Damn right, nigga.
like I'm just like,
It's
what are you
natural,
talking
man.
about?
It's natural. That's who I am. You
I'm
know what
home.
saying?
I'm coming home with you. Like, what do you think?
I'm you tonight,
Right.
nigga.
You know, so he couldn't like, oh, you just too friendly to everybody. I'm like, that's my person. Like, I'm not being anybody different than when we met. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I've always been. I'm a naturally friendly person. That doesn't mean that I want to fuck everybody that I see.
Yeah.
It just means that I'm a nice person. Why do I have to change my demeanor and be something different to make you feel comfortable? Oh, well, a real woman that was married, she would give out this energy that so a man can't approach. I'm like, matter of fact, I got more approaches being married than when I wasn't married.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Yeah.
But, you know, if I get married, my husband's probably not in the U.S. right now anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So South Africa. He's in Cape Town right now, kicking.
Probably kicking it on the yacht, waiting for me to come.